Hey everyone, this is Tim Wendelboe and I'm presenting the coffee that we submitted for this coffee game. As you might have tasted, this is a coffee from Kenya. It's an SL28/Ruiru 11/SL34/Batian blend. And the reason for that is because it's from a cooperative or a washing station called Karagoto. And Karagoto is a washing station that is a part of a cooperative where a lot of the members in the cooperative deliver their coffee cherries to be processed. And the reason why they do this is because most of the farms around the washing stations are very small. A typical coffee farmer would own 1 to 2 hectares of land where they have a house, they might have a cow, they might grow some corn, some grass for the cows, and also some coffee. So they don't produce a whole lot of coffee, and that's why it's difficult for them to process their own coffee and to get into the market with that. So normally they go form cooperatives where they deliver the coffee cherry or sell the coffee cherry to the cooperative. The cooperative will process and dry the coffee and sell it in the market, and then the farmers are paid once the coffee is sold a second payment, depending on the price they fetch. Now we've been buying coffee from Karagoto for a long time, and that's because it's located in Nyeri, where most coffee buyers look at Nyeri, the area, as being the kind of champagne district for coffee in Kenya. And that's maybe because a lot of the exporters have been working closely with cooperatives to educate farmers in that area for a long time. So although they do have very good growing conditions, I think part of the reason why these coffees are so sought after is because they have been accessible in the market for a long time, and also there has been quality initiatives being taken in the area. Now, what really kind of makes this coffee unique for me is partly because it's the SL28 and 34 varieties mainly, but there's also, of course, some farmers growing Ruiru 11, which is a hybrid, and Batian, which is a newer hybrid. They are leaf rust resistant or tolerant. So there's a little bit of a mix, but you can clearly taste the flavor of red fruits like black currants, maybe raspberries, maybe rhubarb, which is not really a fruit. And this coffee is very fruity, distinctive, has an intense acidity. It's quite high in acidity, but it's not kind of unpleasant. It's juicy, as a lot of people would say, because there's also a lot of intensity of fruit flavor and sweetness in this coffee that kind of balances out the acidity. So a typical Kenyan coffee would be this kind of blackcurrant, rose hips, raspberries, rhubarb kind of flavors, and I think this coffee is no exception. I do find it to taste slightly different depending on what coffee I compare it to. So if for instance, I have a Brazilian coffee next to it, it would taste very much like rose hips and blackcurrant, whereas if I have an Ethiopian coffee next to it, it might taste a little bit more like a rhubarb or something like that. So it's quite a complex coffee and intense. Now, Kenya is not a huge coffee origin, but they do produce a lot of high quality coffee, and that's mainly due to the varieties that they grow, which traditionally have been SL28, SL34, but they're highly susceptible to leaf rust, which is a fungal disease on trees. So that's why in the later years, Ruiru 11 and Batian has been developed, because they were thought to be resistant, although that has not been proven or has been proven not to be the case anymore, because the leaf rust fungus is changing over time, and these trees get leaf rust attacks. So that's a big problem, and but I do think the quality is still there, especially with the SL varieties. It's one of the most fantastic coffees we have in the world at the moment, and hopefully you enjoy it as much as I do, because this is one of my favorite Kenyan coffees, and Kenya is actually one of my favorite origins when it comes to flavor. Hope you enjoyed the coffee. Thanks so much for participating, and hope you will have a great summer.